What's up everybody, Brandon with Grizzly Works RC here. Today I'm going to be going over the installation of the low center gravity set for the SCX24. Let's go ahead and open this bag up and see what comes in there. So you got your front tray with extra mounting positions for your suspension, so you can fine tune what you like. A nice flat section for mounting your battery. A Velcro square, which is going to help you mount your battery so that you don't have to use your Velcro strap anymore. You are still able to use that strap if you would prefer that though. And then you have your rear tray, which is where your receiver is going to be mounted, and a lot of extra suspension mounting points as well as some extra mounting points on the frame as well. With this tray, as you've kind of heard, you are going to be swapping battery and receiver positions. So moving the battery up front gives you a little bit better climbing ability, as well as a little bit more stability over obstacles, because it moves some of the weight up front. And then with moving the receiver to the rear, because it's lighter than your battery, it just kind of helps with the weight distribution. Also, everything gets dropped down slightly lower, so it helps with dropping your center of gravity a bit. So other things you're going to need, 1.3mm hex driver of some sort. That's the only tool you're actually going to be using on the truck. You're also going to need some foam servo tape so that you can mount your receiver back up, and some scissors to cut that tape. If you are planning on using the stock servo, you're also going to need a servo extension cable, because with moving the receiver to the back, the stock servo cable can't reach it. Alright, let's go ahead and open this truck up and get into the installation. So basically a stock JLU here, only mod is just steering arm, or steering links. So first thing you're going to want to do, it's not 100% necessary, but it just makes this installation a lot easier, is remove your body. Alright, once the body's out of the way, you want to remove your battery. Go ahead and unplug your motor and your servo, and then remove your receiver. Go ahead and set those aside. Now, first thing I like to do is pull the body mount off. Next, you got to pull your suspension, just the upper shock mounts. The lowers can stay where they are. Make sure when you take these off, you don't let the front drop too far, or else your drive shaft will come out. It's not a big deal to fix, but just sometimes can be a little bit of a hassle. Alright. Now for the front tray, you have 2 screws on this side, 2 screws on the other side. Just go ahead and pull those. Go ahead and pull that out. You won't need that after this kit goes in. Also, you are going to want to remove just one of the screws from here, at least, from the front bumper. I am actually going to remove the whole front bumper just because I'm not a fan of the look of it. And that's not going to go back on there. Alright, so now, time to install this front tray. Goes in exactly where the other one's set, has the same mounting points. Just kind of stretch the frame apart a little bit, and it will actually just pop right into place. And then just line up your holes. And you're going to use the same screws that you pulled out of there. Now, at this point, just to improve the performance of the truck a little bit, I'm only going to put these lower screws in right here. And I'm going to actually mount the suspension right here. With stock suspension, this is one of the best changes you can make to the truck. You can put it back here. It drops the suspension quite a bit though, which does, for me, I don't want to trim my body up at all, so it's going to cause clearance issues if I drop it back to here. So I'm going to put it here, but this does allow for a lot more flex once everything's installed. And it also just helps with the stability of the truck. And just bring your servo cable up through the behind this bar here. All right. Next, we're going to remove the battery tray. I'm not going to need that anymore because it will be replaced by the rear tray here. The other thing you're going to need to do is remove the suspension and the suspension mounts, which also are a rear body mount. If you are using a body that attaches to here, like an aftermarket body or something custom, you might have to work on a design to make that work with this rear tray, because that's not going to work here. Alright, so for this rear tray, you can just slide it in through the back of the frame. There's little tabs on here. You can see there's a channel here. Those go right into the frame rails. And then there is actually a cutout here for if you're running an 050 motor, you'll have enough clearance there for it to clear the tray. And it's all for any 050 motor I've tried, your receiver will also clear over the top of it. So now you just want to get a couple of screws into here. You gotta line your screw holes up. With these screws, you want to make sure you do not over tighten them. Once you feel them start to get snug, they're done. If you over tighten them, you will strip the holes out. If that happens, you can put a little dab of super glue in there and run your screw in and let it dry. And it will not be permanent. It'll just have the threads in there, and you'll be able to remove it if you need to later on. Now, for setting up the suspension specifically on the JLU and C10, to get everything to sit level, if you are running your suspension right here, you will actually need to go to the third hole from the front on the bottom here. It's right above this frame opening here. On the deadbolt, it is different, and on the Gladiator on the Gladiator it's different. On the Bronco, it's the same as the C10 and JLU. Quick side note here for the Gladiator, because it does have a different frame than the rest of the trucks. For installation, the tray still works, but you only run screws in the back two positions here, and you push the tray all the way forward. With the stock batteries that came with the Gladiator, the cable is actually longer and it will still reach from here to where the new receiver or where the receiver sits. So yeah, there's still plenty of room there for it, but you got to make sure you're either using an aftermarket battery or using the stock one that came with the Gladiator, so that you have that extra cable length. Alright, so that is installing these pieces. Next thing I like to do is go ahead and get my receiver installed. And you do have to put this in a certain way. But first, let's get a little piece of tape. I'll show you. So the receiver is going to be pushed all the way back to the suspension mounts here, and you want your battery and motor terminals to be up front so that the battery has enough cable to stretch over to here. Otherwise, you'll either need a battery cable extension or a different battery to be able to plug it in over here. So put your tape towards the back. Next, I plug my motor in. Make sure you get it into the right one. It says motor on the V1 receiver. And then next, I like to do the battery just to get that where it needs to be. The way you want to put this is so that the actual connector for the receiver is down on the bottom here, and it will give you plenty of room to mount up to there. And then line this up on here. Make sure you're centered. And then just press it down. Now you have enough cable length to get to the receiver, and the extra bit of tray that's back here is where I typically tuck this little antenna, just to keep it out of the way. And I'll connect up our servo. Cable that I got white, red, and black. If yours is yellow, brown, or yellow, red, and brown, same thing, just line up your yellow and your white cables, or your yellow and yellow cable, and then yellow or white go, or you put it into the STR or channel 1, and white or yellow points up. You can use whatever you want to kind of clean this cable up if you'd like. You can also run it back here just to kind of stretch the excess out of the way. And then the last thing you do is get your body mount on there. And the body mount that's on here is at the same height as the stock one. So wherever you mount your body for that is where this one will go. And the last thing you have to do is mount your body. If you are keeping the stock bumper, you can throw the stock bumper back on there as well. I will not be, because I'm personally not a fan of the way it looks. And I'll be doing a bumper install in a later video. Kind of going to be using this as a little bit of a build series, as well as a truck to be able to show installation videos for some of my parts in the from the Etsy store. And you get a little bit more flex out of the suspension setup that I showed in here. But you can play around with all the different suspension mounting locations and see what works best for you. There's no wrong or right way to do it. It really is just whatever works best for where you're crawling, what components you have, and how you want the truck to perform. Alright, thanks for watching. There'll be some more videos down the road for some more installations of my parts, as well as some other parts that I'm going to be putting on here. And then we'll also be doing some test videos of it. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave a comment. And thanks for watching.